What up, blackheads, or YouTubes, or I don't know what I'm calling you guys. What up, peoples of the internet, dear people of the internet. Okay, you don't wave back. You want to look, but you ain't waving? That's cool. You getting out? That's not fucking cool, man. You a litter bug? You throwing more shit out? What else was that? You guys report them. There's their license plate. Litter bug bitches, man. Not a fan of that. And now they're talking shit. What are they talking shit about? So anyways, before I saw that bullshit, I don't even remember what I was gonna say now. Man, that stuff pisses me off. Like, you can't hold on to that. Like, you can't hold on to that fucking thing of french fries, an empty thing of french fries, until you pull over at a gas station, or put it in a bag in your car, or, you know, just dispose of it properly instead of just fucking putting it out on the road. Yeah, that's such bullshit. I hate it. I can't stand it when people litter like that, man. Man, that shit's all abandoned. Shit looks like mad abandoned. I might come here in the future for a little photo shoot. Try to avoid that pothole right there. No rain, no rain. Please don't fucking rain. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Man, I've been watching Narcos. That show is crazy. And it's even more crazy to think it's all inspired by real life shit. True story. Anyways, so today I'm on my way to the garage to fix a little thing that went wrong during the install of my air cleaner. So there should be a how-to video on that. I'm not sure if it'll be before or after, but you guys should be seeing that soon. Anyways, yeah, I had some trouble with the breather bolts, so I'm going to see if I can fix that little hiccup. Interesting fact about, or for those of you that are getting air cleaners or intakes or whatever, so you guys know how the filters come in the red, right? Well, I had talked to the owner of this company, which I'll mention in the install video, but he was saying that if you leave, like that redness on the filter is actually caused by the oil, which I totally didn't know. I thought that red was the color of the filter, but the filter is actually more of like a silver or gray, and that red is the color of the oil that you put on the filter to help filter out, you know, all that micro stuff that shouldn't get into your engine. So anyways, he was saying that if you leave the bike, or that filter more specifically, out in the sun, that the sun bleaches it and it takes away that red color, which turns into that color. So it's not red anymore, which kind of sucks because, I mean, black and red go together. I guess in all honesty, that kind of grayish dark look probably goes with the bike a little better. Fuck, middle lane. Ugh. I hate that. I always forget the middle lane sucks. Anyway, so on the ride up to the garage, one of the things I did want to talk about, a couple other videos that I've seen is, and a couple questions that I've gotten, is why did you choose the bike that you chose? Which is a pretty good question, because before I ended up buying the Iron 883, I did an absolute ton of research. So I figured it'd be cool and beneficial to share that research with you guys. I need to give this thing a wash. Look at that, another french fry packet. Man, what the hell is with these french fry packets? People just littering these things all over the fucking place? Anyway, so yeah, a couple of the main reasons that I chose an Iron 883 is, the first thing that attracted me to it was the price point. You know, the fact that even brand new, it sells for under 10, you know, for a Harley. And see if he does a wave on the sports bike. Yeah, so I mean, the price point between a Harley Iron 883, even brand new from Harley Davidson, I think is like the high 7s, like the low 8s. and you can probably like talk them down even more. Actually, now that the 2017s are out, they're probably even cheaper than that for like the 2016s. But so a big reason that I chose this bike is because of the price point. I was able to afford it. I was able to afford the payments. The payments are actually really super reasonable per month, especially if you buy it like I did. I bought used. Freaking everybody, like all of my friends that had bikes and stuff like that, all said, buy a used bike, buy a used bike, don't buy it new. And I couldn't agree with them more. I mean, this bike has been awesome. I bought it, it's a 2013. It had like 3,100 miles on it, so just over 3,000 miles on it, which is crazy low for a 3-year-old bike to have mileage that low. I actually ended up finding it on Craigslist. This dude is actually moving out of the country. Really super nice guy. And so since he was moving out of the country, you know, he had to get rid of it, and so he ended up giving me a pretty good deal. I got it for under $6, which doesn't include, you know, tax, title tags, all that stuff. So I mean, always factor that in whenever you're looking to purchase. So my payments on this bike are reasonably cheap. It fits my budget. And another big factor on it was the cost of insurance. Now, in the state of Florida, I don't think you actually have to have insurance on a bike. I heard that whenever I was signing up, people were like, oh yeah, you don't even need your insurance, like, you know, it doesn't matter. For me, like, I want insurance on a bike just because of all the, I mean, you guys know all the terrible stuff you hear about motorcyclists and accidents, and you know, I also wanted it because it's a Harley, and Harleys get stolen. Where I live is a pretty safe community. You know, I'd asked around a couple other people that own motorcycles if they'd ever had any problems, and they hadn't. So, you know, it's not something that I like really super have to worry about. But you know, if I decide to do a trip up here and, you know, go to the mall or go to Best Buy or something like that, and somebody decides to, like, oh shit, that's a nice bike, I'm just gonna load it up in the back of my van and take off with it. Because I had a friend, he had a sports bike, and he was eating at, I want to say like Bennigan's or something, and while he was inside eating, his bike was parked outside, obviously, and some people picked it up and put it in the back of a van, just straight stole it, and he didn't have insurance on it, he didn't have theft insurance on it. So I was pretty sure to get that, and that's super reasonable per month as well. I go through Dairyland, which apparently is a huge motorcycle insurer, and I think it's something like 24 bucks a month for insurance. So also super reasonable. So my payment for the bike plus the insurance per month is really, really cheap. And so that was one of the big factors. Obviously my budget, I don't want to be financially like irresponsible. I don't want to go outside of my budget. So that was a big, you know, big focus for me. So the second big focus for me was, obviously, it's my first bike. So I don't want something that's going to be too crazy, you know, that I couldn't handle. I wanted something that was going to be good to grow into. And so many people said that the 883 was a great bike because it's smaller, you know, like I wanted a Harley, I wanted a cruiser style. And so many people recommended this bike because it's a smaller bike. It's not as heavy as like a couple of the other Harley cruisers. It came down between this and the 48. Now the 48 is a bit of a bigger bike. It has a 1200 instead of an 883, so you're going to get more power. But the downsides to the 48 versus the 883 is that it doesn't get as good gas mileage. This has a 3.3 gallon tank, and I want to say the 48 has a 2.2 gallon tank. So the 48 has a little tiny peanut tank. Now that's not a big deal, you know, if you're planning on modding out the 48. You know, you can always change out gas tanks, a couple $100, or hell, even find somebody that might want to swap. So that was one of the other factors for me, because I didn't want to have to do that. You know, I planned on modding it out some. That was actually another big factor also, the fact that I could that there's so many aftermarket parts for the Sportsters, you know. So many bolt-ons, like performance upgrades like crazy, you know, like the exhaust, the intake, you can get the freaking fuel controller, the chip, like all sorts of stuff. You can relocate the speedo, you can get different handlebars, like different front forks, wheels, tires, like the list goes on and on and on. And you can build these bikes out into whatever you want. You can build them out into cafe racers, you know, you can build them out into like just all sorts of stuff. You can make them look more mean and muscly. You can get, you know, pipes that come up real high, and so the options are endless in terms of modding it out. Another big thing for me, and which you're about to see right here, is with these train tracks, is the fact that I can lift up off the seat like that. So if there's like debris in the roadway, or like some crazy bumps or railroad tracks or whatever, the fact that these mid controls are here, like I can physically raise up and not take the brunt of that impact. I feel like I have more control with my legs here versus up here with forward controls. If they were up here, I wouldn't be able to raise up at all. So that was another big factor in my decision, was the fact that this has mid controls. Now that's also something you can do if you're looking at the 48 instead, or if you're looking something with forward controls. You can totally change that out pretty easily. It's another really cheap mod that you can do. So, you know, don't let that deter you if you're more leaning towards the 48. I've actually been pretty, I don't know, like looking at pictures of the 48. It's just such a beefy looking bike. It looks so good, and it's, you know, got the 1200, so you know it's got that extra pep. However, another reason that I chose the 883 is that you can get 1200 conversion kits for this engine that are relatively cheap. I want to say like under $1,000 you can convert it to a 1200. And the cool thing is that since it's an 883 and that VIN number lists this bike as an 883, once you upgrade that to a 1200, your insurance is still going to see this bike as an 883. It's always going to be seen as an 883, right? Even though you have a bigger engine in it. So for the basically for the 48 with the 1200 engine, insurance is going to be more expensive. Oops, that's the horn. So to me, that was a perk, because I can upgrade this later and my insurance isn't going to be as expensive as if I was paying for the 48. Anyways, so yeah, that's another, I mean, that's a pretty cool perk of having the 883, is that you can upgrade it to the 1200 or like 1250 even. Pretty simple upgrade. I mean, you get all sorts of stuff with this bike. And the fact that, you know, aftermarket parts are really affordable. Obviously, like whenever I was buying it, I was looking to, oh fuck, I was looking to do stuff to it. I'm not stopping in this part of the neighborhood, man. Look at this shit. House of Beauty. That fucking place doesn't even look beautiful. So yeah, I was looking to do a bunch of stuff to it. You know, like obviously I want to get an exhaust on there, you know, an intake, you know, get some performance stuff. You know, it's a nice bike to grow into. So yeah, there's a lot of really great pros to it. Affordable, cheap insurance, tons of aftermarket options, easily upgradable. You can make it 2-up. I mean, put exhaust on it, all sorts of different craziness like that. And it's not such a huge bike that, you know, it's not like crazy heavy or anything. You know, you can actually, it's pretty nimble, especially like, and again, comparing it to the 48, because that was what I was comparing it to for the most part, is the fact that it has a, you know, skinny front tire there makes it a little more nimble as well, instead of that big fat front tire. I think the length of the 883 versus the 48, it's a little bit shorter as well. So it's more, I think it's more meant for like a commuter, like around town bike, pretty much what I do for the most part. So it fit what I was looking for. You know, if you're looking for something more long distance, obviously you're probably going to want to look into a bigger bike, you know, like the Dynas or something like that. Another bike that I did like from Harley was the night rods and the breakouts, but obviously those are way more expensive, a little outside of my price point, so took those off the table pretty quickly. So yeah, that's all my reasoning behind buying an 883, and so I think, you know, a lot of people kind of have the same logic. And if not, you know, maybe you guys will be able to do pros and cons on your own, or whatever bikes that you're looking at. Also, another reason that I bought it is because whenever Mrs. Blockhead decides to, if she ever decides to try and ride, it's not too big for her, you know, so it's a pretty good sized bike. Do I want something bigger in the future? More than likely, yes. Like, it's something that I've definitely grown to enjoy, but yeah, it's like gonna be something that I end up graduating from. So those are all my reasons. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, share, all that good stuff. Till later, deuces.